Hey guys, T-Bulov here, and before I jump into today's video, I have a quick request. I do my videos on a Samsung phone, and after a recent software patch from Samsung, I lost my in-game video recorder, which was a part of the Samsung software, and it was really convenient to use. It was really easy to turn it on and off, and it's gone. So I have had to resort to finding a third-party recording software, and I'm not real happy with the one I found. So if any of you guys have recommendations on a good Android screen recording software that is user-friendly and not too hard to turn it on and off, I would appreciate a heads up, just so I can keep making videos for you guys. So anyways, leave a message in the comments if you have any suggestions. I'd appreciate it. On to the video. So the star of today's video is the new US Tier 9 premium destroyer, the USS Banham. I'm a little late getting the video out. Kids are home from school for the next couple of weeks, and so in addition to the normal day-to-day things that I do around the house, I'm also playing daddy school. So your prayers are appreciated for patience more than anything else. So Banham is out already, so by the time you're watching this video, you can go and pick one up for yourself. I forgot to look before I switched back over to my press account to record this, but I think it's in the shop, and I think somebody said $75, so I don't know if that's a bundle, if that's just the vote, or what, but I believe that it is available for you to purchase with real good old-fashioned money. So, hey, at least it's not titanium, right? Anyways, it is a Tier 9 premium destroyer, as I mentioned, of the U.S. Navy. So I thought we would take a look at how it compares to the Fletcher, which is the U.S. Navy Tier 9 tech tree ship, and see how some of the stats compare. I did get some games in it. First few were a little rough. For whatever reason, there was only a few of us that actually got it, so those of us that did, the first day we got extra love from everybody. But once I got to the point where I wasn't the focus of the entire red team, I was able to get some games in it. So let's see if... Sorry, guys. I'm busy. Anyways, it was a pretty fun boat, and I'm going to have to see if I've got the funds for one myself. I don't know. We'll have to see. Anyways, it's a torque boat, as many of you may have already seen or heard at this point. It does have 4 guns on it. There's the standard U.S. destroyer 127 millimeter, 4x1, 3.6 second reload, 8.5 kilometer range. Pretty standard destroyer guns. What makes this boat different? Bam! You get 2 racks of 4. That's not special, right? No. You get 2 racks of 4, and then over here you get another. It's hard to see them. 2 racks of 4. So yeah, you do get a total of 8 torpedoes per side. They're pretty quick reloading. We'll get into some of the stats in just a second. But yeah, I took advantage of that a few times when people were not expecting me to have another 8 torpedoes on the other side of the boat. And that little tidbit that they didn't know did come in handy. So anyways, let's take a look here. And I think today we're just going to compare it to the Fletcher. We're not going to get too crazy. This is a Banham class. It's not a Fletcher, unlike the Chungmu that was a Fletcher class. This is its own class. It came out around the same time. And so let's just take a look. We'll run through the stats real quick, and then we'll get into some gameplay footage. And I do have some really good news I'm going to share once we get to the gameplay footage. So make sure you stick around for that too. Anyways, as I said, Tier 9 destroyer, 17,700 hit points. You know what? Before we get into this, I'm sorry. I wasn't emotionally prepared for this. Oh, game, I love you so much sometimes. I guess we'll go into the equipment I used. Pretty standard, I suppose. I did take the torpedo traverse just because that is the main armament, and the gun traverse is actually. Thank you, game. Love you too. The turret traverse on this is actually pretty solid. If I remember correctly, it was about 24 degrees per second. So, I mean, the guns are moving pretty quick already, as you would expect. So I didn't feel the need to buff them. While we're here, before I take Captain Shaw off, I guess we'll just do a quick look. But, I mean, it's a destroyer build. There's nothing really special here. You do get smoke. You do get engine accelerator. So I buffed those two skills. But aside from that, it's a destroyer build. There's not really anything special about it. Fletcher, I was messing yesterday with that, trying to get comparisons for some of the torpedo stats some of my friends were asking. So let's get into them. 17,700 hit points, 18,172. So Banham does have a little bit less health. Looks like the rest of the stats are about the same for fire, flooding, torpedo damage reduction, all that good stuff. 35.84 knots. A little over a knot slower than the Fletcher. It does turn really, really well, though, and it looks like the numbers do kind of back that up. I noticed yesterday that it did definitely turn really well, and then by throwing steering into slot 2, normally I'll run acceleration in slot 2. I threw steering on, and it definitely helped. I've got a few... I'm not the best at torp dodging. I've gotten better, but I'm still not all that great at it. And I've got a couple of really good videos that I was stoked about, some torp dodges in this thing the other day when I was playing it. So I did run steering in slot 2, so I think it was worth it. Guns, like I said, 4x1, so you get one less gun than the Fletcher, but otherwise... You know, range is a little bit longer, reload's the same, damage is the same. The guns are pretty standard for U.S. destroyers. The torpedoes, this is where we get into the fun stuff. Like I said, you get 4x4, so you get two racks per side. They do have a 52-second reload stock, which is, 3.5 seconds faster than the Fletcher there. Doesn't sound like a lot, but when you've got those extra racks, it does help. With the supplies, one of these supplies, this one, is it? This one? No. There you go. That 3% torpedo tube reduction in reload time got you down to like 49. So it definitely was putting fish in the water. 8-kilometer range, 8.1. So actually got a better range than the Fletcher. The damage though, 3872, 4356. So not quite a 500 damage less per torpedo for the Banham. So you've got more of them. They reload faster, but they do not hit as hard. The other point that you want to take a look at here, and I think I still have the elite bonuses selected. Yeah, I do. I didn't take those off. But I've got them both set up the same because, again, I was looking at the numbers yesterday. Flooding damage is definitely less, 17% compared to 21. So, again, doesn't sound like a big difference, but you're not going to get as many floods with Banham as you are with Fletcher. Otherwise, and the torpedoes are slower too. I didn't even realize that. So yeah, you've got a lot more torpedoes, but it's definitely not OP. Your torpedoes are slower. They don't hit as hard, and they have a lower chance of flooding. So you get more of them. You get a better reload, but that's really the end of the perks. So AA, yeah, not as good as a Fletcher. Considerably actually lower than the Fletcher, especially that small cal. But you get a little bit better concealment. And then with the historical camouflage and with the concealment in slot 3, which is the way I ran mine, it did pretty good at dumping torps and running. So for elite bonus, you can take advanced gun director. I recently had a discussion with somebody who was running that on their destroyers because they wanted to have something to do while their torps were reloading. And that's certainly one way to look at it, and I don't begrudge anybody their own versions of playstyle, but that one definitely doesn't fit mine. So I did take advanced torpedo, get a little bit more damage, especially with this thing, you need it, and that buff to the flooding chance as well. Camouflage, pretty standard. Torpedo range, torpedo speed. max traverse, surface detection. So it definitely was a fun boat, especially once I stopped getting focused by everybody and their brother. So anyways, that's the stats. Let's go ahead and take a look at some gameplay footage.